Member Ayers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me. You all should have received a memo from my office, and it's in regards to some changes that have taken place with our fire department with the dispatch protocol deviations. And it is of the utmost importance to me, one, because I've been getting the calls from many of the men and women that are part of the fire department, and I really want us to make sure that we hear from them so that we understand what the impact is. I have outlined 4 different questions. One is saying, please provide the reasoning behind and the impact of dispatch protocol deviations, which would be non-emergent runs. 2, it's been reported that these changes are having a detrimental effect on the quality and efficiency of the Detroit firefighters' work. In this case, what would be the process to change this new procedure? 3, please provide a response detailing the differences between the 2018 non-emergent run protocol policy and the 1990s Go Easy protocol policy. And 4, please outline the city's liability risk in implementing this protocol, in particular, mislabeling non-emergencies. And so if you could just indulge me to allow our fire department to speak to this, because this is something that can have a negative impact, not just on public health and safety, but also from a budgetary perspective.
Are you submitting this for, are you submitting this today as well?
Yes.
Okay. Come to the table, gentlemen. Anybody else here from the fire department? Everybody come to the table.
Hillman's not a part of this discussion.
I would like to speak with my vice president and really.
Yeah. Well, Hillman's not part of this.
Well, who's not?
No.
Okay. Oh. Well, hold on a second. Let's handle this one.
Thank you.
No, it's my memo.
Okay. Let's handle this one first. We'll come back.
Thank you, Chair. I have a packet I'd like to pass out first. Very short, very brief, and I want to thank you first for allowing us to do a quick presentation today. I have been in contact with Councilperson Ayers' office, and I was going to come tomorrow under the public session, but she said I should probably come today, which I really appreciate, because this is something of very critical importance. If I could please pass.
Staff right there. Yep. If you would introduce yourselves for the.
My name is Mike Nevin. I'm president of Local 344. I represent the firefighters, the EMS workers in the city of Detroit. 32 years of service. I'm a captain at Squad 3. Next to me is William Hart. He's a lieutenant, 32 years of service, and he's the vice president of the union as well. I did bring a copy of OSHA's occupational health and safety fire features, as well as our standard operating procedure. On the very top, what I've listed through the chair, Chairperson Benson, and I'd like to thank President Brenda Jones, Councilmember McAllister, and Councilmember Ayers for listening to us today. It's unfortunate that we have to appear before City Council in this fashion, and I enjoyed the meeting today listening to the concern for health and safety of our children and our residents and the people that visit our city. And that's why I'm here today, because of the importance of this dispatch change. Since 1860, we've had a dispatch protocol of when someone calls 911 or needs an emergency, we respond. And the public expects us to respond. And we don't have a crystal ball at central office to determine what's emergent and non-emergent. We go and we get there, and we get there safely. In August, the department decided to change our dispatch protocol. And what they did was they took a thesis that somebody wrote for a paper, one of our firefighters, and he presented it to a couple of administrative assistants. And 2 of these people, one hasn't been in the field in 20 years and one's never fought one fire in the city of Detroit, and they took it to our commissioner, Eric Jones, who's actually been to 1 fire in his entire life, and that was with myself, Verdine Day, Bill Harp, and Tom Gayhart. what they're doing right now is something I'm not going to take a pass on. This is something that I believe the police department did a few years ago, and what they're doing is they're smoothing numbers and they're slicing and dicing responses, how many responses, and how we respond. And they're doing it for the manipulation of data. And as a 32-year veteran of the city of Detroit, I'm not going to allow that to happen. I don't care who it offends. I have talked to the mayor. I've been on the phone with the mayor all weekend, back and forth. I've been sending him dispatches. I have audio of dispatches, and I'm going to go through that in a minute. This is a very, very concerning change. The first page was a bulletin that I put out. The first page is actually a definition of firefighting. Firefighting is the act of attempting to prevent the spread of and extinguish significant unwanted fires in buildings, vehicles, woodlands, etc. A firefighter suppresses fires and performs rescues to protect lives, property, and the environment. Firefighters typically undergo a high degree of technical training. This involves firefighting techniques such as extinguishing fires, extricating victims from motor vehicle collisions, mitigating hazards, materials, and delivering first aid. And what I mean first aid is we have EMS employees as well that are falling under this non-emergent, emergent protocol. I put a bulletin out August 22nd to my members letting them know that the DFFA was never consulted, nor did anything ever come before our Joint Health and Safety Committee about the deviation from our standard box alarms, commercial box alarms, and still alarms and specials. The department took it upon themselves to just change the protocol as to how we respond so that when they get before whoever they need to get before, they could put new fancy numbers on a screen that spread numbers out to emergent, non-emergent, still, box. They would smooth things out to the point where it would look like we were almost doing nothing. But there's actually a greater hazard to that as well. A lot of the older members remember the go easy policy of the 1990s that we went to court on and we won. We won a court battle that the department decided that we should just go easy on runs. Going easy means no lights, no sirens to an emergency. The firefighters and the medics in the field know that there's no crystal ball at central office, and something that may sound non-emergent on the phone could be very emergent, and I've added some of that in the packet here. On August 23rd, I put a bulletin out to my membership because I talked to Commissioner Jones. I said, listen, number one, our people can't even say emergent or non-emergent. We don't have time for that kind of language on the radio. He goes, well, let's change it to codes, codes 1, code 2, and he goes, I'll suspend the program and we'll talk about it. And I said, you know what, fine. I'd rather talk about it. And this is the first time I've come before City Council in 3 years. We've been able to hammer a lot out with the mayor's office and not bring things to City Council, but something that has such a drastic impact on the safety of our citizens, the people we swore to protect, our visitors, and our firefighters needed to come to you first. And I'll get to that in a minute. So I put a bulletin out to our members letting them know that, look, I'm talking to the commissioner because our members went bananas. They're like, what in the heck is this? We don't even know. Nobody uses emergent, non-emergent, code 1, code 2. I don't know if this is some kind of TV show or who came up with this. I know how they came up with it because I actually have the guy's paper and I sent it to Councilperson Ayers. So I know where it came from, and I know a little bit about the person that wrote it that we could get into maybe off the record. But the policy itself, insulting enough, and if you look at it, if we go to the SOPs, is, and it'd be the third page.
Captain.
Yes, sir.
Real quick. What resolution are you seeking from us?
I want to suspend this emergent, non-emergent, code 1, code 2. What they're telling our firefighters to do right now, and if you look at the packet, they're sending our guys on code 2s. I had primary wires down on 8 Mile the other day. It's all in the packet.
So now you got to help me.
Yes, sir.
So code 2, code 1, the difference.
I don't even know what they are because it hasn't been explained to the field. They just made this up.
So
we
that's
have
the
box
issue.
Alarm, commercial box alarms, and when you go to a box alarm, it's lights and sirens, or a still alarm, it's lights and sirens. We're educated enough in our profession to know how to take it easy on the road. And when you look at something that's written here, it says department vehicles shall respond to incidents in a manner that's safe for all DFD responders. responders and the public at large. Safe arrival always has priority over unnecessary speed and reckless driving while en route to an emergency incident is a freaking insult to our people and our medical workers. You're calling us reckless, and we're not reckless. The only people that have been reckless are appointed administrative assistants with their vehicles, taking them places where they shouldn't be and smashing their cars and destroying their vehicles. Our firefighters and medics are doing just fine with our responses. Furthermore, in this new SOP, it says you must have your boot, coats, and your helmet on. The manufacturer and OSHA states you don't wear a helmet inside a fire rig, you break your neck if it comes to a stop. These were so poorly drawn up, it's ridiculous. When fire apparatus is on the air in a non-emergency capacity, getting fuel or whatnot, and a dispatch run is received, they want us to pull over, stop, get out of the rig, put your clothes on, get back on the rig. Fire and emergencies can't wait for that, and we pride ourselves on getting there first and protecting our public. We are saving more lives right now in the city's history, especially with the addition of MFR. As a matter of fact, we put this campaign slogan out to the public that, and this is from the union, that you can count on us. You can count on us to be there. We cover 139 square miles with 27 engines, 13 trucks, 24 medic units, 4 are part-time. We are averaging 4,000 fire incidents a month, 2,100 MFR, medical first responder incidents a month, 12,100 EMS runs a month, near 7,000 runs a month with that little amount of equipment. But we're doing it, and we didn't want the public to ever worry that we wouldn't be there. And we're getting ready to change the slogan that when seconds count, we're minutes away. Because what they're asking us to do is turn your lights and sirens off, and you might as well take the lights off and put good humor bells on the rig. They want us to drive slow, stop at the stop signs, which we do. I mean, stop lights, and we obey traffic. But what they're telling us to do is they're putting us in this pigeonhole code 2, so when they put stuff up on the board, they can show whoever they're going to show to try to impress that our runs are going down. Listen, our fire load in the city of Detroit is ridiculous, and it still is, even though we are making our way here. Things are getting better. But we go from Armageddon to insane. We're still at insane levels with this amount of companies. The fires, the shootings, the stabbings, the cardiacs, we're getting our butts kicked, and we're burning the rubber off these rigs. Captain, here.
Captain, real quick.
Yes, sir.
So I know that member Ayers had a question. We are running into 1300. We've been here 3 hours. I want to make sure that we get your concerns addressed and that we put you and the council on a path to what sounds like have some additional dialogue.
I can wrap it up in 2 seconds if you just, I'll bring it home.
All right.
We've got commercial box alarms. I've got one here, and it's in your packet. To Delaware Street, where they sent a priority 2 check for fire in a commercial building. Check for fire? Are you kidding me? You can always send companies home. We had a woman the other night threatening to jump off.
Captain, you said 2 seconds.
Oh, Jesus. You're right. You got me.
So you're going to bring it home for us?
Yes. We had a woman threatening to jump off an overpass. Priority 2. Take your time. We had primary lines on 8 Mile. I'm not talking about 220s. I'm talking the big guys all across 8 Mile. Take your time. It took them 11 minutes to get there. Anybody could have drove through those, stepped on them. We had a Jacob Fleming of Medic 22 was set on a code 2 EMS. Take your time. When they got there, the person was in full cardiac arrest. This protocol of taking your time to get to fires is ridiculous. If the commissioner needs better people to manage the troops, then he should have them go to the firehouses and have them maybe use better caution. Okay. But we're not having any issues with
Captain.
rigs. Yes, sir. I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Member Ayers.
Thank you. So I want to thank you all for coming. I want to let you know, like I said, I already have this memo that is now a part of our record, and I've asked for the questions to be addressed before tomorrow's close of business, because at the end of the day, you know, people can say that we're looking at this from an objective point of view, but it has nothing to do with if I like these 2 people or otherwise. What I don't want to see is our DFD people being put in harm's way. When you have a situation and a person is calling 911, they're calling because they can't handle the situation. And if we are deploying people to, whether it's MFR run or what have you, and it's coded as a low priority, for me, as the citizen, it's not a low priority. That's why I called you. And I want to see a sense of urgency. But when they pull up, even if they pull up with lights and sirens going, people are still coming at them because their loved one or their belongings are in jeopardy. So what does that do when they pull up with absolutely no lights, with cruising down the street? That is, it's an emergency for that person, and obviously it's an emergency for the situation. So that's one. Two, what I don't want is for us to have things dispatched where it's labeled as a 1, but then it gets dispatched as a 2. So now they've told you it was high impact, but it's being set out as a low impact, and then they get there and they're not equipped. If it's a box, they should have a ladder, an engine, a squad. It should be all those 3 things that should be there. But if it's being dispatched improperly, then they're not getting that. And seconds count in any of these situations. So what we don't need is to have first responders not being able to respond based on whoever wants to have their numbers look a certain way. If that's the case, I don't know. So I'm hoping to get these answers back, and hopefully through you to Ms. Washington, we can get this addressed immediately, because I don't want Member McAllister's committee to have more lawsuits. I don't want us to not do what we're supposed to do, and that's be the fiduciary and for our public safety. And so that's why I asked that they come to this meeting in particular, because that's what we're supposed to do.
Motion to Chair, sir.
Hold on one second, Captain. Hold on one second.
Yes, sir.
Motion to refer?
Yes.
At this time, the Chair will entertain a motion to refer to the Fire Department.
Yes.
All right. Any objection to this referral? That objection's body will make that referral. Mr. McAllister?
Just have one question.
Yes, sir.
Captain, isn't there a standard, national standard, that fire must respond within is it 8 minutes?
Correct, sir.
8 minutes.
Yes, sir.
So,
You are right.
so if, God damn it. I'm sorry.
No, you're on point. We brought our numbers down. We're working hard, and now we're doing the exact opposite of what we're supposed to do. We're telling our people, go slow, and then when they get there, we've already had incidents where the civilians were irate. What took you so long? What are you doing? And you pull up like non-emergent, like.
So real quick, we got to wrap this one up.
Yes, I understand.
And we made the motion. It's going to be referred. Member Ayers is on it, and Member McAllister.
This is a live problem right now. Yes, sir.
Robert's Rules of Order,
To the
so
chair.
let me
Yes,
call
sir.
on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Captain, I just want to have a private meeting with you.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Chair, I'll close out with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
And so my office is going to reach out to you as well, and we're reaching out to the Fire Commissioner also, and we'll be hearing back from Member Ayers. 2 weeks to bring this line item back for a report?
So moved.
Okay. So we're going to
Actually,
line item that.
Mr. Chair, it needs to be a week.
Okay, line item. So line item this for next Monday, which is the 17th.
Thank you.
Line item for the 17th.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you all for coming
Thank
up
you, sir.
today. Administration, we'll get to you within the next 2 weeks, next week to talk about this.